Good evening. I'm the clinical advisor to a group called the Medical Justice Network, which was set up because of hunger strikes, in that case in Harmondsworth and Yarlswood in the summer of '05. It's worth saying a little bit from a medical perspective about what a hunger strike is about and what it does. The first fact is that people will not starve themselves unless they are feeling thoroughly desperate and are convinced they've been denied access to justice. Of the first 6 hunger strikers I saw in the summer of '05, 4 in Harmondsworth, 2 in Yarlswood, every one of them was said to be at end of process and for imminent removal. Every one of them went without food for a minimum of 14 days, in some cases as long as 37. Every single one of them, without exception, was eventually released and has won their case for asylum. Clearly, they were denied access to justice. I've now seen, I think it is 25 people who are on extended hunger strike. Of these, 19 have been released, 10 have status, 9 are still fighting their cases, 6 have been removed. When the Home Office tells you that people are detained for removal because they have no further rights, that is simply not true. Okay. What about the risks of a hunger strike? Because we do not recommend that course of action because the risks are very, very high. First, if you are young and fit and have no previous medical condition, you can probably last a pretty long time without food so long as you drink sufficiently. And by a pretty long time, I mean the shortest time in a healthy person from ceasing food to death was 21 days. And the longest that anybody's yet survived on that basis is about 89. That was a guy in Cuba very recently. But as a hunger strike goes on, you lose your sensation of thirst, so you don't know when to drink or how much, and there's a risk of kidney failure. You lose eventually any kind of immune function, the ability to defend yourself against infection, and eventually you lose the ability to make decisions for yourself. That means eventually that if you are in a pretty dire state, you're going to need, if you want to recover, to be admitted to hospital for treatment. And a lot of what we do in this area consists of fights with the Home Office to ensure that people are hospitalized. One of the fruits of those fights are guidelines on how people who are on hunger strike should be treated. That was promised by the Department of Health in about July 2006. It was finally published after enormous delay from both the Home Office and the Department of Health in January 2010. And I received through their lawyers the data on the women who had been refusing food in Yarlswood, all, I think it was 16 of them. The degree of hostility, incompetence, lack of care, and straight up negligence that these case reports illustrate is truly shocking. There is no doubt that some of these women did buy food from machines, but the way in which that was misrepresented was gross. In one case, the woman was allowing herself only to buy liquids and also some sweets for her children when they visited on Mother's Day. So that was, of course, counted up as, she'd had a few thousand calories total in 6 weeks. You can't live on that. I'd like to end by raising one point and one point only. And I'm afraid this is for Mr. MacDonald because he was kind enough to organize this meeting. There are now moves to put an end to the detention of children at Yarlswood, at least children and families. There is a real fear that the previous government or members of that party will try and outflank this government from the right, playing hardball, playing up to the Daily Mail. What, please, can be done to stop them from doing that? Thank you very much.